少しビリビリします。
命令しろ。貴様の分だ。
ご苦労様。
やれるからやったまでだ。
とても素敵な式でしたわ。
Hey guys, Misery here, back with another CZM video, and in today's video, we're going to be showcasing this new insane broken Kayron tech that recently just got discovered about a week ago. Now you may have seen another video on YouTube showcasing this tech, but it actually has existed longer than that. This was first showcased on Reddit and then it got really popular, so like a lot of the Kayron mains have been showcasing this. But it has been a minute since I last uploaded a video. I actually was kind of sick, so I couldn't really make videos, I couldn't talk for long periods of time, but I'm starting to feel better, so I should have a lot of videos coming out soon. But yeah, this new tech for Kayron is absolutely insane. It makes his ceiling for turn 1 go through the roof. But enough of me talking, let's get straight into the builds and how you pull this off in this team composition. So starting off with my Kayron, he's level 40 affinity, he has 940 attack, 56.8% critical chance, and 201.4% critical damage. Just stacking the basic DPS subsets that you want on a DPS. And then getting onto the partner, I'm using Bria. You actually need Bria for this to even work. You cannot do this without Bria. Because why Bria is good, not only is she increasing the assigned combat's attack by 16%, but also her ego skill exhausts all status element cards in the graveyard. And the reason why this is important is because we're running a persona on Kayron that creates a ton of status element cards in the graveyard for us to exhaust with Bria. So Bria is a must for this team composition. And then getting into the deck, you may be familiar with this deck if you've seen my Kayron OTK videos. This is kind of like a variation of his old OTK deck, except with a persona now, because this is like way better. So of course we have 4 Brand of Annihilations, 0 cost Echo, the Exhaust Oath, and then Echoes of True Abyss. So we can exhaust the futility from Echoes of True Abyss and Echo of Futility with the Exhaust Oath, so we can get more exhaust to scale the 1 cost brand even further. But Bria is not the only thing that you need to make this team composition work. You're also going to need this persona on Kayron. So what this persona does, if a card was created this turn, increase damage amount by 50%. And then for the engravings, we have create overload for each Umbra engraving, and we have 2 of those engravings that creates overload. So we have 2 Umbra engravings on the persona, and then we have 3 Umbra engravings on the gear. So for a total of 5 Umbra engravings, and then it's going to proc twice, so 5 times 2 is 10. So we're creating 10 exhaust cards in the graveyard for us to exhaust every time we use this persona. And then we just have some vulnerable divines, so we can apply vulnerable, which is the best debuff in the game. It makes us do so much more damage. And then always attack weakness on one of the brands, because we're not going to be attacking weakness without this, so that's going to be a huge damage increase from the always attack weakness right there. And then moving on to the memory fragments, we're running 4-piece offering of the void set and 2-piece attack set. So when a card is exhausted, increase damage amount of void cards by 20% for 1 turn 1 times per turn. It's going to be a multiplicative 20%, and we want as much multiplicative as we can get on Kayron, because his scaling actually adds to the base damage. And a high base damage with multiplicative buffs makes the numbers go insane. And then we're just running 2-piece attack set, since getting crit damage on Kayron is pretty easy. One of his potentials actually gives crit damage, so attack is going to be a lot more valuable here. As for the main stats, 4th slot you want crit chance, 5th slot you can either go elemental percentage or attack, and then 6th slot attack percentage. Substats are just crit chance, crit damage, and attack for Kayron. But yeah, that's the Kayron build we're using for this video in this team composition. Moving on to the next unit we have, which is going to be Tiphera. So my Tiphera is level 20 affinity, 464 defense, and 845 health. None of the other stats really matter except maybe ego recovery, but I mean, it's not really needed. We're not going to be running her as a DPS, so we want to stack defense for more healing and taking less damage, and then health for more survivability. As for the partner we're running Nyx, my Nyx is max dupe, but this can be doable at E0. So Nyx is going to increase the assigned combat's defense, health, and heal amount. The number will vary depending on your dupe, but yeah. But the most important part about Nyx is that when the assigned combat draws for the first time each turn using an ability, you'll get a damage dealt by allies buff for 1 turn. So that's going to make Kayron do a lot more damage, which is going to be really nice. You don't necessarily need Nyx. If you want to go somebody like a 4-star partner, maybe Alyssa, that will totally work just fine. But yeah, that's the partner. And then getting onto the deck, we're going to be running quad quantum seed on divines. Well, 3 of them are divines, not all 4, because we need space for the persona. But we're going to be running the predict epiphany on the quantum seed. 3 of them are going to have gain 1 AP divine. For the dual creation, it's actually not going to be any of the upgrade ones, because the skill one creates the most exhaust for us to scale the 1 cost brand. And then onto the persona, plus 15% damage amount to the next attack card used for each card in the graveyard, up to 150%. And then for the engravings, we're going to want the one that moves all persona cards into hand. It is very important to get 5 Umbra engravings, otherwise the engraving on the persona is not going to work. So for this deck, I have 2 on the persona and 3 on my gear, but you may be confused. You may see a Lux engraving on the Tentacles of Chaos. Funny enough, the Lux engraving is actually plus 1 Umbra engravings, so that makes my total up to 5. But yeah, for the Quantum Seeds, just always predict square, which is the draw 1 archetype card, because on the off chance you actually do predict right, you can get one straight out of the draw pile. So those archetype cards aren't clogging your draw pile and breaking your draw. But yeah, for the gear I got on this deck, none of it is really too important besides the Tentacles of Chaos. That's going to be more attack for Kayron, but definitely not needed to pull this off. As for the memory fragments, of course, we're running 4-piece Glory Rain set, the best support set in this game, and then 2-piece defense set for more healing and taking less damage. But we're also going to get another damage buff from the Glory Rain set for Kayron, because when an exhaust skill card is created or used, increased damage amount of allies by 5%, max 15%. That's going to be an extra 15% damage buff to Kayron. As for the substats, like I said earlier, just defense and health. You can go ego recovery if you want, but definitely not needed. And then 4th and 5th slot, health percent main, and then 6th slot, defense percent main for Tiphera. And then moving on to the last unit we have in this team composition is going to be Narja. So just like Tiphera, want to stack the same stats, defense and health, since she's going to be a support. Can go ego recovery, but not necessarily needed. As for the partner, I'm just running 4-star max dupe Alyssa, very free to play friendly. Everybody should have one of these. And then onto the deck, probably the easiest one to farm since you don't need a copy event for this deck. We're going to have 3 bottomless hunger on the decreased cost of 2 random cards in hand by 1 for 1 turns epiphany. This is going to be very important because we want to proc this on the persona cards. So every time they come back to hand, they're always going to be 0 cost, and that saves us a ton of AP. As for the Shackles of Hunger, we just have the 0 cost skill one. We do not want the 0 cost attack one because that can eat up attack buffs, so we do not want that. And then onto the voluntary control, we have draw 1 neutral with the draw 1 divine. That's going to be draw 2. We also got a gear back for more draw, so we can cycle our entire deck and make it more consistent. And then as for the persona, that's also going to give us more draw, so we can cycle the entire decks even further. But for Narja's persona, you're going to want to draw 1 when an attack card is drawn, 2 morale for 1 turn, and then same engravings as the Tiphera one. Move all persona cards into hand, 5 Umbra engravings. 2 Umbra engravings are on the persona, and then we got 3 on the gear, so that makes 5. But yeah, pretty straightforward. You actually do not need a copy event for this one, so yeah, that's pretty nice. The gear's just kind of whatever, just put whatever you can get on her. As for the memory fragments, we're running 2-piece HP set and 2-piece defense set. Since Glory Rain set does not stack, we actually do not need to run Glory Rain on Narja here since we have it on Tiphera. But just like Tiphera, on Narja we're going to be stacking defense and health for more survivability. Pretty straightforward, not really much I need to go in depth on here. As for the main stats, 4th and 5th slot you want health percentage, and then 6th slot you want defense percentage, just like Tiphera. But yeah, that's the last unit in this team composition, Narja, we're going to be using. I think I kind of went over everything you need to know for this team composition. Now let's get straight into the gameplay so I can show you guys how this actually works.
艦長強敵です戦うまだ足りない
待って
強化された力を見せてやる心配いりません私はこんなこともできますこのくらい想像の力よ無駄なこと想像の力よ私はこんなこともできます心配想像の力よ私はこんなこともできますこのくらいなら問題ありません想像の力よ想像の力よ果てしない苦痛想像の力よ何をまだ終わってないよ
命令し
心配や
待ってい
戦う準備は強化された力を見せて
命令し
このくらいならもう私にお任せください
待って終わりにしてやろう
終わってないよ
命令しよ
何をまだや
う待ってい
戦う強化された力を見せて
命令し
私にお任せください
待っていくだらん命令し足りない待って超越足りない
心配入り想像の力よ私はこんなこともできますこのくらい想像の力よ心配想像の力よ皆さん一緒に頑張りましょう少しビリビリします
命令しよ貴様の分
ご苦労様
やれるからやったまでだ
とても素敵な式でしたわ
But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope this video was informative. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, I very much appreciate it if you could show love and support the channel. Definitely appreciate all of you guys who support me. It means a ton to me, and I will forever be thankful for all of you guys. Let me know down in the comments what video you want to see next. If you have any suggestions, I'll take it into consideration. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys take care, peace, and be safe. Until the next one.
待っている空気の中
心配想像の力よ、想像の力よ。執行官ティペラ準備完了。